Howdy, I'm Gary, Dillon Precision's Human Manual, here to bring you some tech tips on the RL1100 progressive reloading machine. On a high-speed reloading machine such as the RL1100, sorting your brass before you run it through the machine is even more critical. There's a variety of cases that are not suitable to be reloaded, and if you try to run them through the machine, there's a chance that you could damage some of the pieces of the equipment. The first and most obvious is the Berdan Prime case. Instead of having one central flash hole, it has two much smaller offset flash holes. So A, it's not going to deprime, and B, if you try to impress it, you're going to bend the decapping pin into a nice U shape, rendering it useless. Also, a lot of Berdan Prime cases are made out of steel and not brass, and you can either damage or add significant wear to your carbide-sized die trying to reload them. Another type of brass you have to look for is aluminum. Some budget brands of brass intended for training and for uses on rental ranges, in order to lower the costs, they make the cases out of aluminum instead of brass. Some are Berdan primed, some are boxer primed. None are intended to be reloaded. It's designed to be fire and forget. Another thing to look for is some brands of brass, typically out of Eastern Europe, even though they're boxer primed, the flash holes are smaller in diameter than the standard 75 thousandths American boxer prime flash hole. Usually they're down around 55 thousandths. Your depriming pin is larger than that, and it could break or it'll just swage into the flash hole. And if you're lucky, just open it up. Depending on the brand of die, it may just pull the depriming pin out of the size die altogether. Some brands of 9mm brass made in the United States, even though they're boxer prime, they have a shelf on the inside of the case. This does two things. One, the shelf is there to keep the bullet from getting seated too deep when it chambers, so it prevents high pressures. But it also requires a lighter powder charge because the volume cavity of the case is smaller. Also, most depriming assemblies will bind because the knurled cap that holds the pin on is larger than the cavity inside the case. Finally, specific to 45 ACP, there's two different primer sizes in use now. Traditionally, 45 ACP has used a large pistol primer. However, with the advent of lead-free primers and bean counters at various corporations, there are available now small prime 45 ACP brass. Small prime 45 ACP brass is just as reloadable as large primed is. However, if you try to stuff a large primer into a small primer pocket, at best it's not going to fit. At worst, you'll have a kaboom. So do sort your 45 brass visually before you reload it.